the issue of nuclear weapons has kind of dropped off public radar in a lot of ways because the U.S. Population doesn't feel as threatened by nuclear weapons anymore.
People thought the nuclear problem danger had disappeared. That was wrong. The problem of a nuclear war was never a deliberate attack by either side against the other, and it was never entirely the problem of all-out nuclear war. The problem of an accidental war launched by a false alarm by alert forces still does exist.
If you look over the history, there have been very close calls just by accident. We don't have the Russian records, but we have the a lot of the US records, and it's appalling. I mean, there's been case after case, probably dozens, if not hundreds of cases, where automated response systems were on the verge of launching a missile strike when human intervention prevented it. And human intervention means like a minute or two. You know, these things are right at the edge of destroying the world.
And it could happen tonight by accident, or by computer error, or by hackers, or by an ordinary fallible human being making a mistake. America has 5,500 H-bombs on hair trigger alert, ready to go with the press of the button. And Russia's got 2,500, and when you think about the fact there are only 240 major cities in the Northern Hemisphere, there's such a redundancy. There are 40 H-bombs targeted on New York as we speak. And indeed, if you look at the situation in the world today, it's very grave.
Maybe the danger is more so now. You know, Emanuel Wallerstein, this sociologist who has written a lot about globalization, he said that he thinks that you know, in the next 20 years there will be 20 new nuclear states. He sees the end of the Cold War as actually an opening up for mass proliferation of nuclear weapons.
Nuclear material and expertise has become dispersed in the world so widely by this point that we are, I think, on the verge of widespread proliferation.
The belief that the threat of nuclear war is extremely serious is standard among leading strategic analysts. Take, say, Robert McNamara, former Secretary of Defense under Kennedy and Johnson. He thinks, his estimate is that it's not only a threat, but it's an imminent threat. He calls it apocalypse soon.
Any internationally tense situation can set up a situation where the weapons could be launched.
There's going to be more nations going for nuclear weapons, especially because the United States and Russia still have them and still use them to try to intimidate smaller nations.
Look at what we're doing in the world right now. We're running around the world, and we're threatening people with weapons that we have and they don't. We love to fly around in helicopters and shoot precision missiles at people who are carrying rifles. The only balance that comes into that is when they also have helicopters, or you also are reduced to only having a rifle. Once you're reduced to equal weaponry, then you're ready to talk. Prior to that, it's just great fun killing people.
Here we are in the position of trying to urge that most of the countries of the world, except for 9, not to have a single nuclear weapon, while we're not only telling them that we intend to keep thousands indefinitely, and that we will not assure them we will not use them against them. We're in effect making a threat.
The way the United States particularly is behaving, it is providing incentives to other countries to develop nuclear arms. Look at the case of Iraq. The United States accused Iraq of having nuclear arms and attacked it. It didn't have nuclear arms, and surely the United States knew that and wouldn't have attacked it if it did have nuclear arms. But on the other hand, North Korea actually developed nuclear arms, and the United States negotiated.
So the demonstration to the world is that having the nuclear weapons makes you a lot safer from US threats, or in the case of Iraq, actual attack.
What is the United States really number one in an unchallenged way, where nobody can come even close to our level of dominance, our level of preeminence? food growing, oil production, human capital. There's only one thing, and that is the military.
Problems are left to the insiders, and the insiders on the whole are committed to U.S. empire. And to run the world, they want nuclear threats. And so long as the leaders in the U.S. are committed to the use of nuclear weapons, the rest of the world is going to keep theirs or get theirs. And the prospects for human survival are not great.
I'm Thomas Sheff. I've been teaching and researching at this university for 43 years, but I find myself ashamed to be a part of the UC system in a time when it is providing weapons for criminal activity.
I think it's absolutely wrong for any university to be involved in making weapons of mass destruction, weapons that are illegal under international law, weapons that by any definition of morality are immoral, weapons that kill indiscriminately, weapons that could destroy civilization.
I beg that you guys seriously stop to think about our participation in nuclear proliferation of WMDs and how it affects our species' chance of survival.
The universities should be pressing forward at the edge of understanding and doing it because the topics are worth pursuing. They should not be doing it because of external institutional pressures which say these are the results we want. So they should not be at the bidding of the state or of corporations or of any other group in society. They should be investigating the frontiers of understanding and trying to expand them, and with careful attention to the consequences of their work.
I know people up there who have minds like calculators, but they won't turn them to looking at what we ought to be doing for the sake of the nation, for the sake of the world, for the sake of humanity. They just say, well, it's not my role to address that, but if it's not their role to address it, aren't we done for? And then we're right back to all the things we accused the Germans of in Nuremberg. They were all saying, it's not my role to address that.
Time and money for instruments of destruction should instead be dedicated to curing disease, understanding and mitigating the effects of world human activity, and improving the human condition.
Today, you are all going to be hearing the testimony of two survivors from the Hiroshima atomic bomb that the U.S. dropped. This is Miyako Yano and Junko Kayashige.
大学というところは人間の文化や科学やそれらを追求して、そしてその研究は人間の幸せのために使われる、そういうところが大学だと思います。決して人間を殺したりするための研究ではないと思っています。
A university is meant to cultivate the culture and science of humanity in pursuit of the peace and happiness of people, and never meant to kill people. The purpose of our lives is not to be killed in grief of war, but to live in peaceful comfort to create a collaborative society.
The humans' life is so beautiful, and the earth is so beautiful. Why they destroy? So many chances to create good things. Not making atomic bomb, not war weapons.
Mattis, Morse, Parsky, Marcus, Blum, Varner, Schreiner, Price, Proust, and Dines. The truth will reveal itself.
The fact that they were doing these things without concerning themselves with the uses of them bothered me greatly. It's a serious ethical and moral issue. And I think it's one of the most immoral and unethical institutions in the country.
They want more investment. They want more money thrown down the black hole of nuclear weapons development. They want to expand the nuclear weapon labs. They want to continue the program. And they've been advocates of this since the very beginning of this program. And so it's up to us. It's up to us, those of us who have a conscience and who are watchdogs, to stand up and say no. Because if we don't do it, no one will.